Hey there, this is Derek from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're looking at a Japanese export Supra. This one here is a 1996 with 137,000 kilometers on it. And this here is the twin turbo version of the 2JZ that puts out 280 horsepower. This one has a slight tune to it, and so it might be a little bit more power than that. Engine running condition sounds good, but it might have a little bit of an exhaust leak. Okay, also the catalytic converter has been removed as well. This is an engine swap, not an original turbo. And not an original 6-speed. Oddly, it's an original 5-speed that's being converted over to a 6-speed. It's really, really noisy. And my apologies to the neighbors, that is a noisy car. Without the cat and an aftermarket exhaust, the car can be very noisy indeed. Now you'll notice a few things looking at the engine here. The engine room has been painted red, but this wasn't an original red car, it was an original silver car. In fact, we took a look at the VIN number and then checked for all of the details such as the transmission. A little bit of a point of weirdness, the inside has a snow button, which as far as I know is only on the automatic transmission versions of it. Here we go. But we checked the VIN number and it was originally an SZR grade, which is the 5-speed manual for this year. The next year, it got the 6-speed manual for the SZR non-turbo. So it's a turbo engine swap. Of course, this was mentioned on the auction inspection sheet, and I'll read that to you in a second. As far as under the hood stuff goes, though, we have a sticker here for the timing belt having been changed, but we don't know when. We also don't know the mileage on the engine because an engine swapped car is most likely a used engine that was put in for some reason or another. And yeah, we don't know the mileage of it. We only know the mileage on the body or the chassis. Have a few aftermarket parts, an aftermarket suspension that might be Olin's. We don't actually know. See if we can see that. Look at that big monoblock calipers front and rear. It looks less like Olin's when we come in here. It kind of looks like a cheap brand. It's like a gold shock casing with an orange spring. Battery tie down is all tape. And coolant looked really, really dirty, like a kind of a muddy color, but not like contamination with oil style. It was just old coolant that's been in there for a long time. So this engine has been in this car for some time. Okay, we've got a little bit of a weird peeling here. Now it is an R grade, it's been in an accident, so you might find some oddities. There is that. As far as it being an R grade as well, there is a bit of visible damage back here. If you look there, there's been a repair. And then the hatch isn't a perfect fit. It's not terrible, but it's noticeable. You can see on this side is close to the same. Okay, let's go back to the engine room. Not mentioned on the auction inspection sheet was the aftermarket intercooler, which you really could see in the pictures in there. Okay, the black headlights, they are faded a little bit, but they're the black version of the headlights. They had like 3 or 4 different versions of headlights, different interior pieces, different colors and whatnot. HID upgrade, intercooler piping, and anything else? I think that's everything that we could notice in here. So let's go ahead and close the hood. Take a look at this. There's 2 hood catches on the Supra. And because it's a lightweight carbon fiber, mostly carbon fiber hood, it's a little bit tricky to latch in there because the 2 of them. Okay, quick look at the car. And man, I have been having this in the lot for a few days, maybe 3 days. Almost everybody who walks by is like, wow, a Toyota Supra. It wasn't always like that here in Japan. The Supras were always cool cars, but nowadays they're so rare to see that people will point them out when they see them. Now, here's the auction inspection sheet. I'm going to go ahead and translate this now. It's a 96 Supra, 3000cc engine, auction grade R, interior C. Keep in mind, this is all the information given to us at the time of purchase, and so you determine your bid based on this information primarily. It's a color changed car to white. 137, 298 kilometers. The sales points are aftermarket aero, 19-inch wheels, which are TE37 SL. An SL is an extra expensive version of the TE37 that generally has more dish to it. But these ones sadly aren't in good condition. They are a 19-inch, 10.5 on the back. I actually don't know the front because I couldn't find the sticker. But front is probably 9.5. It's pretty common to have a 1-inch difference. And then a very aggressive setup. You can see the wheel comes out right past the fender. And then same thing goes on the rear. And then you can see the roughness of the wheels. They've been scraped like crazy. Okay, now the SZR comes with the big brakes. So you got the big brakes front and big brakes rear. It's a 4-piston in the front and a 2-piston in the rear. The SZR is basically like the Supra twin turbo, not the RZ. I'm sorry. Supra, RZ, GZ, SZR, RZR. I don't know. It's been too long since I've thought about Supras. All the information has gone into my head and all the way out again. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, notes. Original non-turbo engine swapped over to a turbo engine, 5-speed changed over to a 6-speed, and has no catalytic converter, which is a problem here in Japan. You wouldn't be able to register the car here. Outside of Japan, it probably is fine. Many cars in Japan didn't come with catalytic converters until like 91, I think, was the year that they had to. So you might be able to say, oh, this is just how the ones in Japan were. No cat, it's fine, it's legal. Because technically when the car is 25 years old, it doesn't have to qualify for EPA or DOT regulations. So anyway, color change car, front accident has been repaired. Obviously the rear also had some accident. Front has the hood and both fenders have been replaced. Okay. Interior has wear and dirtiness, and some parts have been wrapped with a vinyl. Unfortunately, that vinyl probably has to go. It hasn't been wrapped all that good. I mean, it probably was good when they put it in, but it's been in there for a while. Dashboard comes up or is deformed. You can actually see a little bit of it here. It's a very common place for it to come apart. Okay, various aftermarket parts. Exterior has uneven paint or paint wave. Okay, wheels scratched. Engine room has been painted. And engine room painted, that's quite an ordeal. Not only do you need to take the engine out, but every single accessory that's in there, every little box and wire and like a brake line, all of that has to go. Core support and the front support have been replaced. ABS and check engine lights are on. There's also that like triangle lamp with an exclamation point in it. And the right and the left front inner panels are dented. Various scratches, dents, and repairs. And then we can see an AU2 here, and then it says U2 over here. I didn't really find anything, but there is paint wave basically on the whole body. Spare tire is missing as well. Okay, lots of stuff to translate. Now let's see the car. And I'll take you for a tour once around it before I show you any of the nitpicky little details. This one, of course, aftermarket front bumper, side skirts, rear spats, and then that's the original hoop spoiler, which I believe the hoop spoiler was on the SZRs, maybe on all of them. Aftermarket exhaust is what? Let's have a look. Regu 06R. Exhaust systems, it's Kakimoto. Yeah, very noisy. Also has some white overspray on it. The black taillights here, as well black badges, and there is no badge on the hood anymore. It's been changed over to the carbon fiber hood. I do like these spats at the bottom. That's not the best lighting, is it? Okay. JDM tree is getting big. It's a big boy. Okay. And the Supra, yes, extremely good road presence. When people see these driving by or hear them, like this one, you're going to turn your head and you're going to look. And although this one needs a little bit of work here and there, but the image of the Supra is still there, and it's still a very good looking car. Only needs a little bit of work. Okay. Let's look at details now. The carbon fiber hood has some peeling and some cracking paint. Peeling paint up here. The vents in the hood are mostly to allow the radiator to be more efficient and to lower the lift of the hood. Now there aren't any hood pins in this, and it's a very flimsy style hood. To be a lightweight hood, you probably want to put pins in just to be a little bit more secure, because at high speeds this is going to deform in shape because it is a very lightweight version. I do like the look of it. I like this style of vent. It's cool. The edges of it all the way around have peeled. It looks like it's a sheet of authentic carbon fiber on top of fiberglass, and then doesn't have the windshield washers in it anymore. Also, wipers have been badly peeled. Okay. And yeah, that peeling goes basically all the way around. All here, around the headlight, along the front. So it looks like it's kind of an old hood, and the seal between the carbon fiber and the fiberglass is kind of peeled. You can't actually peel that carbon fiber up though, anywhere. Okay. Now headlights, yeah, they're a little bit faded. Marker light has water in it. And then it's odd for Japan, but somebody added a diffuser. I think the reason why these are odd in Japan, or not very common, is because they extend your front overhang. And Japan is a very hilly country, lots of mountains. Everyone knows about the Toge mountain roads. That just doesn't fly very well here without getting snapped off or getting bottomed out all the time. Okay, nice to see a large intake that fits the intercooler very well. You can see a little bit of the piping on the sides there. These ones go in to give you cooling for your brakes. It's not fed directly to the brakes, but it would function pretty well regardless. A little bit of a knot lining up here. That's kind of a thing with fiberglass bumpers, especially ones like this one that you know have been repaired. There are little marks here and there. There's a paint strip there. Let's see. Some flex cracks here that have been painted over. Flex crack there, and here, and a crack there. Okay. Yeah, the TE37 SL, guess what? Same wheels as our race car. Except that one, that one there is 13 inch, not 19 inch. And the 13 inches, 130,000 yen used. Regular price, 200,000 yen. So the 19s are probably somewhere in the 350 or 400,000 yen range. So not a cheap wheel by any means. Scratch here, and peeling up of this section here. And yeah, you can barely fit that wheel in. Have another look. Okay. There's maybe a better look at that rear spat, and it's been painted black on the underside, just like the side step piece or side skirt piece. Okay, I don't think there's much else to mention. A little bit of a body repair there. Oh, and some rust on the A-pillar. There's that cat. I bought that cat some cat food, but haven't had a chance to give her any. I witnessed her birth in one of my cars. This is loose. Some rust right here. Something you probably want to get addressed. Let's open the door and have a closer look. Okay, it doesn't look like it's more problematic than what you can see. Oh, and since it's been repainted, there's some areas that weren't exactly taped properly, and as a result you get these lines here in some areas. Here as well. The paint wave, I'll let you be the judge of it. Have a look. And the camera has trouble focusing when I do this because they don't know what to focus on, so my apologies for that. See, everybody likes the Supra. Okay, into the interior. Door cards are in good shape. Here's the vinyl. It's a carbon fiber looking vinyl, but it's like color shift between blue and purple. Kind of cool, but it also has its peeling issues. As an example, all around the ignition there. Okay, it's also peeling in here, and on the other side as well. A smaller steering wheel than stock. I think it's around a 32 centimeter or 320 millimeter. Seats are in pretty good condition. Many Supras have kind of junky seats, and they're known to have electric problems. The forward and back electric function often seizes on one side, and then is okay on the other side, so it just kind of twists the seat in place. I have seen it on plenty of Supras. Maybe a good idea if it were your car to just take the seat out and give it some extra grease on the underside before it seizes and then wears out the motor or something. It's the driver-centric dashboard, which was a fairly big thing when this car came out. A lot of people were talking about it. It kind of has the cockpit of everything's facing you, and then the passenger gets their own little section. I always thought that's kind of weirdly organized. And then we got some vinyl bubbling up there. Hasn't been smoked in, smells good inside. TRD shift knob. CD player has been taken out. AC doesn't work. Usually that's mentioned on the auction sheet, but they can miss it sometimes. Okay, Nardi steering wheel. Has some aftermarket lights in here that aren't actually attached very well anymore. Original carpet, missing the Supra logo that goes there. Carpet looks like it needs a good cleaning. Okay, let's go to the back seats. And we got a rip there. Looks like the Japanese letter for he. Oops. I don't know how you get a rip there, kind of weird. And then, different from most of the Supras, it doesn't have any rips on the top of this, but it does have a weird little thing. I've seen this a few times, like the texture in the leather there goes weird sometimes. Okay, headliner's all good, but we do have this piece here of trim is coming off, and same thing over here. So some sort of a trim coming off issue. That carpet's a lot cleaner. Okay, and not a dual airbag version. You didn't need dual airbags until I think 96 in Japan. Open the teeny little trunk. Big car, tiny little trunk. I mean, length times width, no problem. But the depth at what, 20 centimeters? Yeah, kind of weird. And then underneath here, I believe it's a full-size spare, but there is no spare in this one. Like, I think the Supra comes with a full-size spare. Okay. Lots of junk in there. All right. That does fold down if you want that seat to be folded forward to give you a little bit more rear space. We have beehive. Actually, two beehives on it. There's that one, and there's one in here. Yikes! We had a beehive on our car carrier, and we asked an exterminator to get rid of them. And they found, they were the big ones, like this size ones. They found like 28 of them. It was crazy. This mark here is the AU2. They really should have called that peeling paint. And then it has some surface rust, but very solid metal, so a repair should be very easy comparatively. And yes, fenders have been rolled, front and not rear, only front. Okay, that's all for this Supra, bought from auction here in Japan for export over to the USA. Hope you enjoyed the report on it. Thanks so much for watching, and have a nice day.